Hey everyone, Pluto here. I thought I'd bless you with my divine presence today. um, but I know it's been a while. I haven't really made, a video like this in a very long time, and I'm not very happy about that. However, your suspicions of me going on drug binges all day uh, are true. However, I mean, I do work and stuff like that. It's not like I'm a fucking bum. Um, but I have not been, I've really been slacking on the YouTube. And I have a lot of scripts written out. I just haven't gotten around to recording them. This is a bit of a off the cuff type video, I guess. Um, and more of a defense of my drug usage. Because in America and a lot of places around the world, drugs are viewed very negatively. I do not view drugs negatively. I don't view them positively either. They're more of a neutral thing. Because all a drug really is a molecule, and that's just basically it's just pharmacology. There's no morals in pharmacology. It's just a drug. There are good ways to use drugs and there are bad ways to use drugs. And I believe that I use it in a good way. Uh, Reason number one being, in a lot of my past videos, I have noticed that I am playing a bit of a character. What PlutoCoffins is, I don't know what the fuck it is. The insane ramblings of an angsty, now 17-year-old kid. Uh, that's basically what it is. But in the beginning, and still to this day, I'm playing sort of like a character. I view myself in like real life as sort of like a showman. Not so much YouTube anymore because I don't really do it that much anymore. Uh, but I view myself as like a showman, and I like to entertain people. And uh, so in the beginning, my character was very angry and very, very short-tempered. I believe that in my past videos that I made a lot of good points, and I think I made a lot of good arguments, and that I contributed a lot for a 16-year-old. Um, However, I believe my approach was that of an angsty 16-year-old. I believe that I use this as like an outlet of anger and hate. My YouTube channel as an outlet of anger and hate. Um, that's really the only thing I regret about it. Uh, I'd say a little anger is good, and showing that passion is good, but it's more powerful when you reserve it for the right issue. I was throwing out anger left and right uh, to people that I considered friends, and that's what I really regret in my past videos. I would have never came to this revelation had it not been for marijuana and my extensive use of it. Um, I use cannabis every day, multiple times a day, probably like 12, 14 times a day I smoke weed. And I just like where it takes my mind. And it's a very, very introspective type drug. You look at yourself a lot, and you look at your actions, and you look at how they affect people or how it could affect people. Um, and it just really makes you think about all the harm that you've done. And then, you smoke too much and then you're like, "Oh God, please, world, forgive me, oh my God." Um, Speaking of smoking, sorry to interrupt my train of thought, but I've got to take a hit from this fucking bong. Right now there's some resin in my hitter, but I've got some weed on the floor down. Well, it's in a container on the floor down there. I assume this video is gonna be rather long, so I fucking listen to me smoke. Alrighty. As I was saying, weed makes you look at yourself and your actions, and then you judge yourself in a way that you never could sober. Sometimes you're very harsh on yourself. Yeah, I had to stop the recording for just a second, just to regather my thoughts, because I did take the break to smoke, and I forgot what the fuck I was gonna say. Drugs, kids, they're bad for you. Not really, actually. As I was saying, weed makes you look at your life in a way that you never could sober. It takes away your ego, in a sense. Weed doesn't completely do this. Psychedelics are more the tool to remove yourself from your ego and have ego dissolution. But weed, for me, helps me take a step back and look at it from look at my life and look at arguments I'm in and conflicts I'm in from a different perspective, and sometimes get sympathy for people that I would plainly hate sober. So I think, for me, right away, marijuana is a good drug. It showed me light, in a sense, and that sounds very religious coming from an atheist. It's just a fucking positive. Like, right from the fucking start of smoking weed, you start looking at yourself from a new perspective. What does that mean? What does that entail? That entails that right away you're striving to be a better person. Right away, from your first toke, and you get these high thoughts, and you're like, oh, what if I did this differently? What if I did this differently? Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. What the fuck is wrong with me? Right away, you're striving to be a better person, just from taking a toke of weed. And the benefits of other drugs, like psilocybin mushrooms, are limitless. Psilocybin mushrooms have been shown in studies to for people that have like tobacco addictions and alcohol addictions, which are devastating, of course, long term. And alcohol can be a bit shorter term, though. But for tobacco use, let's just use tobacco use for right now, for this example. They would take smokers, and I'm a smoker, actually, so I'm kind of interested in this, so I can kind of kick that. More of a casual smoker, though. I don't smoke like a pack a day or anything, more like 1 or 2 cigarettes a day. But anyways, they would take these smokers, and they would give them a high, sufficient dose of psilocybin mushrooms. And with this high, sufficient dose of psilocybin mushrooms, they would trip. Some would have good experiences, some would have bad experiences. And I don't remember the exact percentage of the people, but a very, like, astronomically high percentage of the people, after the trips, whether it's a good trip or a bad trip, it didn't fucking matter, they would quit smoking. They would kick the habit. They would like have a revelation, in a sense, just from taking a sufficient dose of mushrooms. They would kick the habit just like that. Doing that sober would be agonizing. Smokers, the first 3 days when you still have nicotine in your system, and you still feel the urge to smoke. I mean, obviously you're gonna feel the urge to smoke after the nicotine has left your body, but the first 3 days are the worst because nicotine is still flowing through your blood in trace amounts. The second day is supposed to be the worst, from what I've heard. Um, but what do smokers experience when they're going through withdrawal? They experience cramps. They experience headaches. They're easily irritated. They can get violent. They're angered very, very, very easily. Not in a good mood, folks. Not in a good mood. Smokers, when they're going through withdrawal, are not in a good mood. Um, but these people who take these psychedelics can kick the habit just like that. Now, of course, going into the psychedelic experience, these people had to have a plan that they're going to quit smoking. I mean, not all of them obviously expected that they would quit smoking. Not all of them wanted to quit smoking. However, they at least thought about it. So, they had a plan in place, and it was much easier for these people to follow through with their plan. Um, but already you can see positives coming from Schedule 1 drugs. Cannabis and psilocybin mushrooms are both Schedule 1 drugs. Now, what does Schedule 1 mean? Schedule 1 means no medical uses and no recreational uses. Now, this is clearly false. I mean, cannabis helps people with PTSD, it helps people with anxiety, it helps people with depression, it helps people with terminal illnesses like cancer, it helps people with glaucoma, it helps people with all these various different diseases and conditions. And then, and it also helps with epilepsy, and it helps with Parkinson's disease. I mean, the applications of cannabis are limitless. And then you look at psilocybin mushrooms, which shows to be positive in the sense that it relieves people of addiction. And that's the thing about psychedelics. Most of them are non-addictive. Non-addictive. You can't get addicted to them. In fact, after using psychedelics, a lot of people will never use them again. They got the message. They don't need any more insight for their personal lives. Then other people take psychedelics for life. And everyone who has taken psychedelics for life, they say, oh, it's so beneficial, so beneficial for my life. Like, it gives me clarity. It helps me in so many different ways, and yet they're supposedly Schedule 1 drugs. This makes no sense. This makes no logical or scientific sense. Especially considering that some Schedule 2 drugs, which means that they have some medical applications, are cocaine and methamphetamine. They both have accepted medical uses. This is absolutely ridiculous. People are going to prison for selling medicine. People are going to prison for growing medicine. People are going to prison for getting medicated. It's absolutely childish and just plain silly. Our society needs to grow up. Our society needs to open its fucking eyes and grow up and realize that drugs, specifically the ones that we have demonized and made illegal, have legitimate medical and recreational uses. In fact, how is smoking a doobie and having a glass of wine any different? How is eating some psilocybin mushrooms on your day off and getting fucked up on alcohol any different. Alcohol is a much more deadly drug than psilocybin mushrooms and marijuana. Psilocybin mushrooms and marijuana both have 0 recorded deaths attributed to them. Alcohol has countless examples of people dying from its usage. You can drink yourself to death. You can't smoke weed to death, and you can't eat enough psilocybin mushrooms to kill yourself. It's just impossible for those two drugs. But you can drink yourself to death, and you can smoke tobacco till you get lung cancer and die a slow, agonizing suffocation. The laws on drugs are backwards and draconian, and we need to move past this, and we need to move past this war on consciousness.